Duerr. I'm Director and CEO of General Magnetic International Inc., former Mayor of Calgary. Well, when you think of hard skills for leaders, you immediately think of things like finance, accounting, human resources, operations management, HR, and I guess I would submit that leaders need a reasonable grounding in all of those. I believe you need a reasonable grounding in all of those because you're dealing with complex problems. It doesn't matter what your organization is, the complexity and the information that's available now that has to be addressed and dissected and understood and dealt with is complex. So a broad range of skills, in many respects being a generalist, is, I think, an excellent skill set for a leader. I think it is absolutely essential that leaders park their ego. I think effective leaders recognize that they can't be experts on all things, and they shouldn't necessarily be experts on all things. An effective leader should have the courage to be able to invite into the room, into the discussion, people that are a lot smarter than they are. Their objective is not to be the expert. Their objective is to glean from these people the best of what they can offer. And if they can do that effectively, if a leader can have the courage to bring and engage people and not be threatened by those people, it's amazing what you can ultimately achieve. The other thing that leaders have to have is passion. You have to clearly demonstrate to people that you love what you're doing. If what you're doing is ever a job, you shouldn't be in a leadership position. It has to be something that becomes part of you. And when it's part of you, people will be inspired by that and they'll want to make it part of what they do. It's another key characteristic of effective leaders is the ability to share success and failures. There's the old adage that success has many parents and failure is an orphan, and in business and large organizations that's really true. You see it in business, I saw it in politics. I think it's really important if you're going to be an effective leader and if you're going to inspire and engage people within your organization, that you share the successes. I think it's absolutely important to acknowledge those around you, and you'll see the good leaders do that. Most importantly, and probably even more inspiring to the people around you, is when you own the failure, when you personally own the failure. Those two traits, sharing success and owning failures, can have a significant impact on how people see you and how your organization is perceived. Personally, I'm a generalist. I've always believed that it was useful to, and I always had an interest in the complexity that is around me. So I have tried to ensure that I developed a reasonable knowledge set around a variety of issues. I have had the benefit of tremendous experience and opportunities from consulting, working with northern native communities, to businesses in Southeast Asia and China, to political career, to leading an international business startup. It's all been exciting. I get passionate about the challenge. I get passionate about working with people. I get passionate about putting together interesting people that are fun to work with, addressing significant challenges. And whether those challenges are political, or whether they're in an international business scene, or whether they're in dealing with very real human issues from a public service perspective, it's exciting, it's engaging, and it's fun to work with people. Well, I think that obviously the most inspirational leader that I have come across and had direct experience with, and I hope it isn't too cliched, but it's Haskayne. I've known Dick for over 20 years, and my first encounter with him was as a politician, and then I've come to know him in a variety of business contexts as well. He's an individual that obviously operates with the ethics and integrity that I believe is fundamental, should be a core principle of any leader's operating principles. He has tremendous passion. He wears his passion on his chest. He is obviously much more than a financial magician, although he is a very qualified CA. He is that generalist in many respects that I believe is required if you're going to deal with complex issues. He understands the international as well as the local scene, and has been a strong advocate for doing what is right, not just in the business community, but in the larger community as well. And that's demonstrated in his philanthropy and the respect that he has gained across this country. He would be my number one leader. If you think of leaders who have gone off track, I think you can think of the recent financial crisis. Probably more attuned to my day, I can think back to the early 2000s when we saw the collapse of Enron and WorldCom and a number of major organizations, people going to jail. And you had to ask yourself, did all of these really bright Harvard, Stanford, MBAs, did they really go to school with the intent of ultimately ending up in jail and disgraced? They didn't, obviously. So what happened? In my opinion, they lost their moral compass. They forgot what the real objective was. They ceased to take advice from those around them. In almost all of the postmortems on those companies, there were people internally who were blowing the whistles, who were saying, this is not the way to do things. That information was not accepted. That was ego. That was runaway ego. Those are all things that I think we have to watch for to varying degrees. Those were spectacular collapses, but you see similar things on a more local level, and it is something I think we owe it to ourselves to learn for these important lessons from fairly recent business history. If there was one piece of advice I would give you as potential leaders, is that leadership is much more than holding the top job. We require leaders in all levels of organizations. You can have a phenomenal impact on your organization, on the people around you, by understanding and exemplifying those core leadership skills, but more importantly, by how you define yourself and how you present yourself. I think it's actually absolutely essential that leaders are true to themselves, that they understand and appreciate that who they are as people will ultimately define what their potential can be and how they can contribute ultimately to the larger community. It's not so much how much you're able to gather around you, it's more importantly how much you're able to contribute that, in my opinion, defines real leadership. I believe the Haskayne School offers students a phenomenal opportunity to be part of a great learning institution that has won competitions around the world. Clearly we have a quality learning experience here in terms of content. But more importantly, we're part of a community. We're part of an engaged community. Calgary, Alberta is one of the most entrepreneurial cities in the world. It's an incredibly international city. By definition, our energy industry is international. The decisions that are made here impact people around the world. It is incredibly exciting to be part of a community that has as much influence as Calgary. And yet what's different about Calgary than so many other communities is that engagement. That community that operates around the world, those are the same people that might be sitting beside you in a class. They're the same people that might be speaking to you. They're certainly the people that ultimately may well be hiring you. And to be part of this community, this highly entrepreneurial, engaged, sophisticated, and competent and internationally recognized community is something that I think defines you as students and will help to hopefully propel your career forward.